I'm Allison.
And I'm Andrew.
And we are Unity Home Sales Advisors. Today we're going to be talking with you about Streamlined and that offering within Unity. Essentially, Streamlined is our design system that we've developed that will allow it or make it a lot easier for you to get to a high-performance home. It comes with more predictable costs and designs that are optimized for our offsite fabrication and high performance. So that's what we'll be talking about today.
And sidestepping quickly, these live events are kind of mirrored after Fika, which is a Swedish tradition of making time to get together with some friends and colleagues over some coffee, tea, and maybe a couple dozen sweet treats. So that's why we do these live events and much of that honor. So with that in mind, you can get back into Streamline.
Yeah, so Streamlined really is the meat and potatoes of what Unity Homes is all about.
Sounds good.
Yes, no, we're hungry. Offering hundreds of options for unique configurations without paying a high fees for customization.
Right.
So that's really what all of Unity is aiming to do. We're able to create pre-elaborated models in our virtual fabrication process by having all of these options predetermined for you, which really allows us to reduce the shell package costs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, and we have a name for that.
Yeah.
We call it embedded intelligence here within the company, so
Yeah,
that's fun.
Yeah, it's very important to kind of how things progress here behind the scenes. But what does that mean for you if you're interested in working with us in a streamlined pathway? We assume that you would have spent some time on the website and maybe looked at our designs and figured what might work best for you and perhaps the layout of your site. So when you have that in mind, you can get a hold of one of us, myself, Allison, and Christine, and talk about the pathway that is streamlined and how do you go about finding those options to choose from. We call them constellations in-house, which are those components that plug on in various places that are predetermined but have different layouts within them. So you have that flexibility. Once we've figured out what works best for you, you'll be ready to enter into our PSA agreement, which is it's a pre-construction services agreement. Okay. It's a design contract.
Essentially the design
contract. You'll have the option to also flip and mirror, so we want to make sure that it's working for you appropriately in your site. We really think we can capture most of the needs of the people looking for a Unity home within Streamline. And in that PSA process, you'll be working further along in the design to have your set of plans sent and ready to go. We also have a 3D software that's in the works that will help you get a sense of what that looks like even on your site. So we're very excited about that.
Yeah. So again, to highlight some of those key values of Streamlined and why you would choose Streamlined, it's that low design fee for the tailored plan, essentially the most amount of flexibility for the lowest price for design, the predictability of the pricing as well as the timeline. There are vetted floor plans that you'll have as options within Streamlined that come from years of designing with Unity clients. So essentially we've taken all the favorites, made them available here. And overall it's the ease of process. So there's so many options, thousands of options actually, but they're presented in a way that isn't overwhelming. So in 2D, our constellations do a really good job of that, but soon with our new tool that we'll have, we're going to be able to do that in 3D with you kind of live on a call. So that's really exciting to be able to see the design that you might be committing to before you sign that contract as well.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Yeah, we're excited. So we have some questions that were sent in prior to the live stream today, but we welcome you to submit any questions that you have about today's topic.
All right, let's see what we have. Please send in your questions as they pop up for you, but we'll lean on some other questions that we have from earlier as well. You might be asking, where did the name Streamline come from? And we get a lot of questions about our names here at Unity.
Sometimes I wonder too.
I looked at the definition, and I think it's the perfect fit, and essentially it's where it came from. Is the definition of Streamlined is having been made simpler and more efficient and effective. So that's exactly what we're trying to do with the design system that Unity is based off of. So.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Oh, we've got some questions. Okay. So Jackie asks, are there any foundation limitations with Streamline? So no. Effectively, what Unity can offer are one of three foundations, and a lot of that will be dictated by your site. Typically, the most economical way is a slab-on-grade foundation. You do have an option for a full basement, and then if your site allows for it with enough slope, we do have a walkout basement option. So all three are available within Streamline. You'll have that option.
Yeah, that's one of the ways we can be flexible for your site and tailor for your specific site.
Yeah, it'll help also figuring out that you can take a single floor design and turn that into a two-level living without having to go for a larger home.
Right.
Right off that.
Let's see.
Yeah.
So you can have the walkout basement. That was the other
Yeah.
question. Let's see. Can a home be customized outside of the predetermined components? So we have a third design path that's called personalized. So we have express, streamlined, and personalized as the different design paths or design contracts that you can sign with us. And under personalized, you can make some changes to maybe interior layouts that are not options within Streamlined, and potentially utilizing components in different plug-on locations, we call them, attachment points to the main volume. But we do think that we would really want to fully explore Streamlined before going down that road, because some of the new components that are going to be options in Streamlined include alternate sized additions and components. So you'll have multiple size garages, connectors, and in some cases additions, first floor bedroom additions that might be possible. So we definitely want to fully explore that, because it's going to be your best value within Streamlined, and then we might be able to consider personalized for you if that wasn't going to work.
And I also, we do think that most people will be found in the Streamline path because we can cover so much. But if we're talking minor changes that aren't reflected in a Streamline pathway and options, you have a local builder that will be working with your project anyway. So if it's a matter of just modifying a wall, we'd rather probably see that done on site if it's a slight modification rather than enter into a personalized plan with Unity.
For an interior.
For an interior wall, nothing exterior.
Yeah. We want to protect our high performance envelope at all
Absolutely.
costs.
Yep.
Let's see. So we also have a question. Let's see. Oh, Mariel's in Florida now. Okay, so you're wondering, since Unity is in New Hampshire, are Unity homes built to withstand hurricanes and meet insurance specifications? So I would have other concerns than hurricanes of building in Florida with our building system. So our exterior wall and roof systems are semi-vapor open assemblies, so they're meant to dry to the outside. And in the Northeast, that is ideal given our climate. In more humid areas, you want things to dry to the inside. And so an exterior vapor control layer in the form of sometimes a vapor retarder is required by code in a lot of those more humid areas of Florida and Texas. So our standard wall as is may not be an ideal fit for those more humid locations. We've had a few projects where they add that exterior vapor control layer on the outside on top of our exterior zip system, but I think the value at that point in time kind of
it's a little lost.
Yeah. And then you had a question about if it insurance increases. We haven't actually got any feedback from clients on a Unity Homes performance or information about their insurance. You would think that a really high quality home that has lots of insulation and things like that could potentially be a lower risk project for the homeowner's insurance, but we don't know that for sure. All right, I'm going to take the next one. Sorry. There we go.
Do you have relationships with banks for construction loans? We have a list of banks that are familiar with lending to people who have worked with Unity in the past and are familiar with high performance homes. We also provide a document that's called the Green Addendum, which can help in the appraisal value of building a high performance new construction home. So we have a few banks that we can pass along information to you about.
We have a great blog article on that we can share too. The whole financing process of high performance homes. The next one is Streamline faster than Express? Tricky question.
It is tricky.
So when it comes to timelines and everyone's slotted kind of production schedule, we begin to hold your place in our production schedule when you sign the PSA contract or that design contract. And as we get closer, things become more defined, and your site readiness and your local builder schedule will all inform that as well. And so essentially, your production schedule depends on how fast you move through that design process. So essentially, Express is the shortest time spent in the design process. We're literally just siting the home on your lot, so you can get to your build contract faster with Express. Streamlined is still a very fast design process, but you are working through some choices. You're confirming those. You may or may not have a selections process with either Streamlined or Express, which can also affect timeline.
Yep.
But essentially, it depends. It depends. The answer is it depends. We're going to do everything to meet your project timeline with your local builder. But essentially, right now, we're about 1 year out.
Yep.
And then that would be worst case scenario. So the longest time we're going to take is 1 year. With Express and Streamline, certainly that's going to be much faster. All right. When will the added Streamline options for more garage spaces, et cetera, be available? So by the end of November. Yeah. Like I said, there's going to be larger garage sizes. There's going to be more connector size options, and yeah, we'll be able. A sales advisor will be able to walk you through those options and show you in 3D.
Yeah.
Really
We're trying to expand upon that to capture more people inside of Streamline.
Yeah, exactly.
Are vaulted ceilings available in Streamline VARMs and TRADs? So the VARMs will not have any vaulted ceilings in them. We use a truss system for those. The TRAD, depending on your layout, can have a vaulted area in a lofted area. But you don't have to have the option. But the TRAD is the only one in the 2-story options that will have a vaulted space, or can have a vaulted space.
And the TRAD is using our roof panels to essentially get that vaulted second floor. And we have that one, there is a Streamlined option that has the TRAD is open all the way to the ceiling above the living room.
Right.
So if you can imagine kind of a loft area where you can look down from the second floor onto the living room of the TRAD, that is an option in Streamline. That's a popular one. All right, the next question is, as rates go up, will prices decrease? The goal of Streamline is to bring down our costs, and so the predetermined options go a long way in doing that in our contracted prices. The kind of continued use of Streamlined, I think, will result in further cost decreases by us being able to further optimize materials and value engineering throughout. So we hope to continue to see the cost of Streamline go down. That's our goal.
Right. And that embedded intelligence that Allison talked about earlier is very important to the process of bringing down those costs.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Where do wraparound porches fit in? So wraparound porches are under personalized. It's something that tends to be very unique to a project and where it makes sense given the site location and sun and all of that. So a wraparound porch is under our personalized design path. One of the other things that we were looking to expand on was porches in general, but in Streamline there won't be any wraparound porches. Thank you for all these questions. They're great. Another one says, do you have builders experience with Pleasant Dream Designs? Not familiar with that,
Yeah.
so maybe we'll have to look that up and get back to you on that one, Janet.
Yeah.
The price per square foot question is a very common one that we get as sales advisors. So, but I think it's more helpful to talk in terms of the range of designs that we have and their kind of completed home cost.
Right.
So when it comes to cost per square foot, where you get that information, you kind of never know if when you compare apples to apples, people are including the same things in that cost.
Yes.
So I like to just say a design that's about this size is, roughly this cost. So we have designs that range from our nanos, which are kind of tiny home or ADU size, starting at 495 square feet up to just under 1,000 square feet, which are going to fall in like a 300 to 375 kind of $375,000 price range for the finished home. And your shell package with Unity is actually going to be a portion of that. And then I would say our average home that we get requests for and contracted for is a 2 to 3 bedroom home with a connector and a garage. And that right now is averaging somewhere between the $600,000 and $900,000 price point for a slab on grade. And it would be more than the $900,000 or the upper half of that, I would say, for options that are going to have full basements or walkout basements.
Yeah, and if you go on our website, any of the plans that are presented, we do offer the shell estimate for that and the finished estimate as well. So we don't know the finished estimate as well as we know our shell costs because we produce those shells. But we try to give people an idea of what to expect in a project so they can understand whether or not moving forward is the appropriate action. Mm-hmm. So you can find that in any of the plans, and we'll show you the square footage and our estimated finished costs, and you can take a look to see what that particular plan would come out square footage wise.
Right. And those costs are going to be before taxes and shipping.
Correct.
But I think Janet gave us a clarification. She was talking about design costs.
So sorry for that.
We can't graze over the design costs because they're super low.
Yeah.
With Streamlined, it's only $4,000 to sign the design contract for a slab on grade. If you wanted a full basement or walkout basement, there's added fee.
Correct.
So it could go up. I believe it's $1,500 to add a full basement and $4,000 to add a walkout.
I think it's $1,000 for a full basement, $4,000 for a walkout, and then if you decide to go with our tempo package, which is where we're providing the finishes and fixtures for your project, that would be an additional $1,500.
Yeah. So we like to, only charge you for what you're taking advantage of, and make it flexible.
Yeah, you're in the driver's seat with regards to that.
All right. We have another question on. I missed this one up here. Okay. How long would the personalized path take from PSA to delivery? So that personalized path is probably along the lines of my worst case scenario that I mentioned of being that full year from start of a design contract to installation date on site. And then you have your finishing of the house after that as well. So while we take about, we kind of reserve about 1 month in design for Express, 3 months for Streamline, and that's kind of, again, like worst case scenario in Streamline, you're likely to maybe move faster through that. And then personalized, we hold up to 6 months. So that's, potentially, depending on how fast things can move and decisions can be made and information can be shared back and forth, 6 months for that personalized plan, but still overall a year deadline.
Yeah, there's more uncertainty when it comes to a personalized plan in terms of time and price because we're not sure what those options that you want are going to materialize out to until we get to that design process.
We have another question. Do you do walk-ins or appointments only on the sales side? Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
We prefer to do virtual appointments as kind of a first go. So definitely fill out our contact form on our website. That will get you connected with the sales team. And that's where we would begin to coordinate with you on a date and time that works for both parties. So, and then after that, we might have several calls to work through design questions and things like that. In-person meetings are mostly on the selection side.
Yeah.
Even our design meetings, once you're contracted, are mostly done virtually. We can share a screen and look at the same drawings together. Very efficient. Okay, so let's see. Oh, that is another clarification from Janet. Builders that work with you, or for the completed part of that. Do you want to talk about our how we work with local builders?
Okay, yeah. There'll be 2 steps to the process. Is kind of dealing with Unity, but also finding a general contractor or a builder to finish out your home. while that very much is something that would be done on your end, the vetting of that builder, we can aid in that. If we've built in your area before, we try to keep information with regards to builders or general contractors that have worked on past Unity projects and try to assist where we can. We are also very involved with that process. We have a project management team, and once you are in the PSA process with us, there's a project manager that's attached to your project. So we're very involved in that regard. But yeah, it's mainly up to you to find a builder in your area, depending on where that is, and we can assist here and there if we're familiar with that, right?
Yeah, but we don't have necessarily like a formal builder approval kind of program, because our crew does come and do the installation of the panels. So
Correct.
it's kind of finishing out a standard construction home from there on out. So it can be very flexible who you work with. The Xyla bump is an option that Magali is asking about, and that is an option on Streamline.
Yep.
So each of the Streamline Xylas will have the option for that bump. It's a 6x12 bump that often is acting as a dining room nook or a living room nook, and some of those smaller Xylas, it can even be a bedroom nook, though that might be going away. So we'll focus on that as a dining room or a sitting area kind of nook, and that is definitely part of the Streamlined. I love the Xyla bump because outside on the facade of the house, it gives it just a very cute character, like cottagey with its own little gable. I suggest it for all.
I'll take one. Yeah, and if you go to, make sure, again, in the each individual plane, if you scroll down a little bit and it says see full plan and pricing, that will show you whether, where that bump can go and for each individual plan.
Oh, great. Let's see. Questions seem to be wrapping up. So we just want to thank you for joining today. And if you have questions that you want to continue to add to this stream, you can do so. We can answer them after the fact. And we do have one message to share with you that we're kind of wrapping up our in-person events for the year. Towards every winter, we kind of take a hiatus in our public events due to the weather mostly and scheduling conflicts that it can create. But we're going to be creating a lot more digital content this winter for things like webinars, more of these Facebook Live events. So there will still be things that you can follow on our events page and sign up for. But we'll be resuming our factory tours and our open house events come next spring.
Yep.
So stay tuned for that and follow our newsletter to always be the first people to know about those events. And yeah.
Thank you.